So far in the bombing, officials say explosives were found in Harrington, Kansas. Terry Nichols' brother James is being held in Detroit. His farm in Decker, Michigan has been searched, and again we're told explosives were found there. And it's possible that charges against one or both of the Nichols brothers could be brought as early as tomorrow morning, according to one official. In other developments, an alleged Army deserter was picked up near San Bernardino, California, and taken in for questioning. Law enforcement officials say David Iniguez was picked up on other charges and is not a suspect in the Oklahoma City bombing, but it's felt that he might be able to provide information.
I think what it shows is that the FBI is casting a very wide net with a thin mesh, not taking anything for granted, and thoroughly pursuing any lead.
Officials say Iniguez doesn't fit the description of John Doe number 2. That's the fugitive the FBI has been hunting ever since it issued a composite sketch, drawings of two men who allegedly rented the truck that was used in the bombing. Meanwhile, CNN has learned that investigators are looking into a possible link between Timothy McVeigh, the one man who has been charged in the bombing, and a right-wing group called the Arizona Patriots. Yet another piece in the puzzle that investigators are trying to solve. Bernie?
Thank you, Tony Collins, at the Justice Department in Washington. And as people leave this area, the fairground area, reflecting over at the bombed-out federal office building, the grim work continues. The process of going through all of the rubble, all of the debris, searching, hoping that people can be found alive, and marking where bodies are located to be extracted later. Our live coverage from Oklahoma City will continue in a moment.
This is LDL cholesterol. If left untreated, it can clog the walls of coronary arteries and result in heart attack. Although much progress has been made in the fight against heart attack, it is still the leading cause of death for men and women. But there is hope. It may be possible to stymie the destructive process of LDL cholesterol and prevent heart attacks. We're working on it. Call today for a free booklet on heart attacks from America's Pharmaceutical Research Companies.
Before you open new doors, Canon gave you the key to color copying. Before the competition closed in, Canon raised the standard. And just when you thought you reached the top, Canon takes you far beyond. With colors so vivid, so versatile, so fast, it will raise you to a new level of productivity. When the rest say you can't, Canon says you can. The most advanced color laser copiers from Canon. Now you can. Call 1-800-OK-CANON.
What if somebody invented a way to change some of our toxic chemical waste into something useful? Like energy. Now there's less chemical waste and more energy. It's not the whole answer, but it's a start. The 180 members and partners of the Chemical Manufacturers Association, working for change.
Look inside today's PCs. You'll find something pretty amazing. The Intel Pentium processor. It gives PC software more life, more action, more energy. So if you want your PC software to really move, make sure your PC has the Intel Pentium processor.
To Joe Oliver at CNN Center in Atlanta with a news update.
Thank you, Bernie. In Central Africa, aid workers face a scene of brutality and carnage that would be unimaginable if it were not spread out before them. UN officials say at least 5,000 people are dead as a result of a massacre, panic, and stampede at a refugee camp in southern Rwanda. At the camp today, amid scenes one witness calls a vision from hell, authorities are burying the dead. CNN's Jim Clancy reports.
United Nations peacekeepers ferried out handfuls of victims aboard helicopters, while reports from the scene indicate tens of thousands of Hutu refugees are being forced marched away from the Kibeho camp. Rwanda's prime minister says there will be an investigation of the massacres to determine whether the shootings were in self-defense or deliberate. If it was deliberate, he says, we condemn it, we can't tolerate it. Saturday's massacre killed thousands of Hutu refugees as government troops carried out a security operation at the camp. Soldiers of the predominantly Tutsi RPF reportedly panicked and opened fire when thousands of refugees rushed toward their lines. Also blamed Hutu extremists inside the camps.
This tragedy here in Oklahoma City. The first step, which perhaps will cause some alarm bells among civil libertarians, the President will announce that he will propose legislation for the government to take all steps to prevent terrorism, including infiltrating what is described as crack terrorist networks, both foreign as well as domestic. The White House will also ask for full funding for additional measures that the FBI and other law enforcement authorities can take to engage in electronic surveillance of terrorist and other criminal activities here in the United States. The President is also asking for the creation of a new special FBI counter-terrorist and counterintelligence fund, as well as a new interagency domestic counterterrorism center headed by the FBI. He's also asking for additional information that the FBI will be allowed to gather in order to report access to consumer reporting activities and other counterterrorism and counterintelligence operations. The President is also directing the General Services Administration to replace the Murrah Federal Office building here in Oklahoma City and to repair other buildings in the vicinity that were damaged by this truck bombing on Wednesday. He will request the necessary supplemental appropriations funding be made available by the U.S. Congress. In short, new measures designed to try to fight domestic terrorism. Bernie?
Thank you, Will. We'll be right back.
We're done for good.
You know, that...
Upward, the awards, the honors, the accolades for the Toyota Camry continue to rise. Driven by a powerful V6 engine, precision crafted to the highest standards, Camry has risen to become the gold standard, while its starting price hasn't risen at all. Introducing the 1995 Toyota Camry, newly styled, refined, and headed for even greater heights.
Gentlemen, I hear automotive opportunity somewhere.
Where?
By the time these guys notice that automobiles aren't just a necessity.
This way?
Maybe.
But an opportunity.
That way?
I don't know.
The best opportunity in the business will be gone.
Where?
Right there.
Because ITT Automotive already supplies parts to every major car maker on the planet. For 75 years, ITT, the one to follow.
This is LDL cholesterol. If left untreated, it can clog the walls of coronary arteries and result in heart attack. Although much progress has been made in the fight against heart attack, it is still the leading cause of death for men and women. But there is hope. It may be possible to stymie the destructive process of LDL cholesterol and prevent heart attacks. We're working on it. Call today for a free booklet on heart attacks from America's Pharmaceutical Research Companies.
It's no surprise that everything here, multicolor printing, presentation materials, and more can be done by one printer. But what might surprise you is that this same printer is right around the corner. Pip Printing. You'll be surprised at what we can do.
20 years after the war, CNN returns to Vietnam in search of answers from those who fought on both sides. Unprecedented live coverage from Ho Chi Minh City, Kent State, and the Wall. Vietnam 20 years later. All next week on CNN.
Tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, CNN will present a one-hour special on this day of national mourning, on this day of healing, on this day of remembering. For my colleagues Bruce Morton in Washington and Wolf Blitzer here in the Oklahoma City State Fairgrounds Arena, I'm Bernard Shaw. Thank you very much for joining us during this very long, this very reflective, but this very important afternoon. Important for the human mind, the spirit, the body, the soul, not just in Oklahoma City, not just in Oklahoma State, not just in the United States, but in the entire world. Thank you.
Would you know my name if I was in heaven? Would it be the same if I saw you in heaven? I know I just can't stay here in heaven.
Now, there's more news in the morning. Early Edition with Andrea Arsenault and Bob Kane. Weekdays, 7 Eastern on CNN.
50% off brand new Toyotas.
Today, people pause to remember the victims of the federal building explosion in Oklahoma.
It was a national day of mourning. President Clinton attended a memorial service in Oklahoma City that was just over a little while ago. And as that service took place, workers continued the awful job of digging through the crumpled building, looking for bodies. And reality began to set in for a family from Louisville whose relative is still missing in the blast. It's a job that goes on around the clock. Workers picking through the rubble, occasionally finding the bodies of the missing. 72 people have been found dead in the federal building bombing, 150 unaccounted for. Among them, Peggy Holland from Louisville.
But now we see that there's not much room for her existence. We just now want to be able to see what we need to do to close the chapter.
Betty Hammersby is Holland's sister from Louisville, and she's in Oklahoma tonight, glad that she flew there.
Being at my brother-in-law's house has given us the comfort and the love that I know that Peggy had surrounding her here, and that's one of the gifts that still remain, even though she's absent from that.
Back here in Kentuckiana, churches took time out to pray about the tragedy in Oklahoma.
We've all been gripped by the despair that we saw etched on the faces of parents and workers and just common citizens in Oklahoma City.
And President Clinton and the First Lady joined in this National Day of Mourning, attending this memorial service in Oklahoma where thousands came out.
You have lost too much, but you have not lost everything. And you have certainly not lost America. For we will stand with you for as many tomorrows as it takes.
With several arrests already made, the president pledged the resources to solve this horrendous crime that even now continues to occupy the nation. Federal authorities have taken into custody 3 people for questioning in the bombing, but no one has yet been charged with the crime. Agents are still looking for other suspects in the blast.
There's a way that you may be able to help the Hollands and their relatives. The family is looking for any dental records, anything that might help identify.
I'm Bernard Shaw reporting live from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. 5 days ago, the morning was sunny. The morning was bright. 5 days ago, it was the middle of the work week. People going to their jobs as they normally do, except for those who filed into the building behind me, 200 Northwest 5th Street, the Alfred P. Murrow Federal Office Building. In this first half hour, we will look back, and in the second half hour, we will take a closer look at this day of national mourning, declared by President Clinton because of what happened 5 days ago, shortly past 9 o'clock Wednesday morning.
This has been a tragic and heartbreaking day.
About a third of the building has been blown away, and you can see just smoke and debris and fire on the ground.
You just can't imagine it. There are just bodies laying everywhere. There's people just laying there screaming, trying to get out. It's just a real gruesome sight. They just think right now.
It was an act of cowardice, and it was evil.
Get back! Get him back! Get him back!
I have just made it up to the building that exploded, the Alfred Murray Federal Building. It is an amazing sight. It's as if somebody came and sheared off an entire half of the building. Below it in the parking lot, all the cars are damaged and they are smoking. Now, what is really devastating is in an entire block surrounding this building, we are seeing injured people everywhere. Literally dozens of people that are bleeding. Some of them, you can't even make them out. They are so badly injured, and ambulance crews are just working as fast and furious as they can, trying to get to these people and put them on stretchers and get them to the hospital. They are just working as fast as they can. We've seen a number of small children being carried, bleeding heavily from the face. Everywhere you look, the buildings have been destroyed. The Journal Record building across the street, many of these, every window is gone, and there is debris hanging out of the windows. It is really a chaotic situation. Many people are running around trying to find friends and co-workers. The streets are filled with people, and the streets are just filled with debris.
They were in there. Okay. Right there by that window. Okay. Give us a chance to sort this out, okay? We'll do all we can. My paperwork's there. I'm sorry, you can't go beyond the I don't care.
Wait, where is it?
Right there.
Debbie's mom works in one of the buildings here, and she can't find her. Her brother has been taken to the hospital. We don't know anything other than that.
I can't believe this is happening.
I got a daughter who works out here.
Oh, my God.
She's federal parole officer.
Do you have a daughter in there that might be there?
Yeah, I haven't heard nothing from her. I just got down here. I'm trying to find out if they run it.
There was a boom, and the building shook, and the ceiling fell in, and the walls fell in, and there was nothing left. The whole floors crashed in.
As soon as it did, I went outside, looked around, and then I seen buildings all over the place. Looked like they were hit.
And the floor from above went down, and flat, and it just kept falling. It was a horrible noise. Horrible noise.
Just like a big vacuum just sweeping down through it, just busted through, like a burst of air just coming busted through like that. It just blew up.
Boy, it's just like an atomic bomb went off. The ceiling went in, and all the windows came in, and it was a deafening roar, and then there's just dust and everything. I don't know what direction it came from, but all I know is everything just caved in.
What happened to you, sir? We were on the 5th floor, the three of us. When whatever happened.
You were on the first floor?
We're 5th floor.
5th floor. What happened under a desk, right?
Huh?
You went under a table?
Yeah, I went under a table when the ceiling started to fall in. And, that's what saved me, I guess. My floor was okay, and the ceiling had come down, but there was still concrete above, so it was just a corner of the office that was left that we were in. Everybody else that we worked with is gone.
Like that again in my life. I really don't. It's absolutely horrific up there.
1947, an invention from Siemens makes it possible for written words to be electrically transmitted over vast distances. That was then. This is now. Today, the ingenuity of Siemens people is breaking new ground in communications and in medicine, in transportation, in energy, and automation. At 70 manufacturing sites in America, Siemens' inventiveness continues to open doors to the future. Siemens, precision thinking.
They created their microprocessor in 1971, and the faster their chips have performed, the faster their company has grown. Today, the Intel design is the brains behind 2/3 of the world's PCs. By the 21st century, Intel expects their chip to execute 2 billion instructions in 1 second. Where do you find such fast-thinking companies? Actually, there's a list of them printed every day. NASDAQ, the stock market for the next 100 years.
Taking care of business.
Hey, looking for great office furniture? Come see what's new at Office Depot. Lots of new styles. The kind you'd find in those expensive specialty stores, but at Office Depot, you're guaranteed low prices every day. Ooh, nice wood. What is this, maple? Oh, that's a good tree.
Taking care of business.
Buy your office furniture at Office Depot. A guaranteed delivery next business day.
I need coffee. Coffee. It's Jerry. He runs the Super 8 motel. He's like all their people, friendly and helpful. Can't be a relative.
Super 8, super people, super prices at over 1,000 locations nationwide.
I'm Donna Kelly. Mornings on CNN, we talk with those who are making news.
And I'm Leon Harris. We also meet Hollywood's brightest stars, and we take your phone calls.
It's something news and different in the mornings.
CNN Morning News, 9 Eastern.
I heard this boom and wind blowing, and I thought the computer had blown up.
It just explodes. You just watch your own room just go to pieces.
This is the place for complete coverage of live breaking news wherever it occurs.
Turbo sports wagon. It goes places no wagon has.
that they're convicted of this.
What goes through my mind? I mean, I wonder if they have children of their own. And if they do, how could they do this? I don't wish for anybody to die, but I think it's something to do. It's hard. I mean, what do? Do you leave the room like this? Do you take all the pictures down? Do you give their clothes away? You don't know what to do. What do you do when people ask you, do you have children? What do you say? Well, I didn't have children. My children are dead. What do you say? You don't know what to say.
This is the place for complete coverage of live breaking news wherever it occurs. This is CNN.
Really choked up seeing the teddy bears. Parents have been given teddy bears, parents of children who died in the Murrah building right behind me. Seeing the flowers that were given to everyone, the corsages given to relatives of those who lost loved ones here. The president's words were very dramatic, no doubt, when he promised everyone in that audience, all 11,000 people who could cram inside, and the thousands of others who simply couldn't get inside. When he promised that he would bring to justice those responsible, there was a long ovation. The Reverend Billy Graham, of course, tried to explain what was going on, but even he had no answer.
Can break the heart, have you begging, please, begging, please.
This is the place for complete coverage of live breaking news wherever it occurs. This is CNN.